Hi, I'm Brian Brackens with the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center's Public Affairs Office. In this leadership log, we're speaking about digital material management.
What DMM gets us is speed. You will be able to develop and sustain your weapon systems faster.
We've identified actually over 226 use cases of how to apply DMM in our organization. And of those, we've actually prototyped 114 of those.
We'll speak with two practitioners about what it is and how this approach is helping support the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center's mission to acquire and support war-winning capabilities. Well, sirs, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm really excited. The topic of digital material management is something that we hear a lot about from senior Air Force leaders all the way down to our units. And it's something that's very important to the Air Force, and really excited to be able to talk to the experts, some of the boots on the ground who are actually leading and executing this digital material management effort. So, but first, if you don't mind, if you could start by giving me your name and telling me where you work.
All right, I'll go first. So Kevin Torres, I'm the digital architect in the Mobility and Training Aircraft Directorate. So our directorate is responsible for the sustainment, modernization, development of all airlift, tanker, and trainer aircraft in the Air Force.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Oren Edwards. I'm the chief engineer of the Medium Altitude Unmanned Aircraft Systems Division, and I work within the Intel, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance and Special Operations Forces Directorate. In our portfolio, we have several UAS programs that we manage all the lifecycle activities for.
Great. So both of you work for organizations with aircraft that are extremely important to the Air Force's success. So let's talk a bit about what exactly is digital material management, or DMM.
I'll start with kind of how we've defined it. So we have established what we call a vision statement for how DMM is applied in our organization. And so we define it to mean the widespread generation of and mass exploitation of integrated information and automation in our day-to-day business and technical processes.
Mr. Torres?
Yeah, so in the Mobility and Training Aircraft Directorate, we actually have two policy documents. One of them is our charter, and one of them is our DMM training plan. And so our vision is for digital material management activities to be ingrained in all we do. And so innovation is part of digital material management, but it's not all of digital material management. And yeah.
Why is DMM important? Like, why should we be doing this?
I'll kind of re-highlight speed, right? So when you look at the tools that are available for DMM, we're not talking about new tools. We're talking about using migrating from tools that are 30 and 40 years old, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, to using tools that are only 20 years old, like Team Center, like Cameo, like Jira and Confluence. So when you realize that DMM is about moving towards use of tools that are 2 decades old, that from our organization, that's driving a lot of the motivation. Like, how far behind do we want to find ourselves in a couple years? And if we're using 40-year-old tools to achieve the results that we do today, and we want to accelerate how fast we can truly operate if we were to catch up with the rest of the business world, that's what's driving our change within our division.
So Mr. Torres, why is digital material management important? Like, why should we be doing these efforts?
All right, that's a good question. So we report to Air Force Materiel Command, and our job is to sustain and develop material. Historically, it has taken us a very long time, for example, to field new weapon systems. And our peer competitor is doing that in a much shorter period of time. What DMM helps us do is shorten the amount of time to deliver not only new weapon systems, but new capabilities to our warfighter. That's what DMM buys us.
Let's go ahead and talk about examples of you all using DMM in your daily work life.
Yeah. So one of the challenges of digital material management is tools, and so in the Mobility and Training Aircraft Directorate, we have been utilizing tools that are available in our enterprise. So the two primary ones that we've been focusing on is so Air Force Materiel Command stood up a launch pad environment, and that environment has a suite of tools available. And so we have facilitated our personnel to get accounts in Launchpad to use to begin to use digital material management tools. And so we've got 133 users. There are 4 functionals represented there across 7 divisions. So that's been one of our focuses, is getting tools into our workforce hands to begin to use and apply it to their jobs.
Okay. So I know across the Air Force, including in your portfolio, we've started an effort that's called like digital twinning, where we make a digital replica of different aircraft within the portfolio. Is that a part of digital material management?
What 100%. So the term digital twins it's a pretty big term, and the way we look at it is a weapon system can have multiple digital twins. There can be a structural digital twin. There can be an electrical digital twin. There can be a digital twin for any subsystem on that weapon system. And the way we've been looking at it is a digital twin is made up of 3 parts: the model of the system, the data of that model, and then the sensors that record the live information from that weapon system, and the integration of all of that, so that you have the physical asset, the model of the physical asset, the data that integrates them, and now you can build these digital replicas of your weapon systems. And you don't have to have a digital twin of the entire weapon system. You just have to decide, what is it about my weapon system that will return value if I have this digital model of a piece of it.
Okay. Do you see, and adding you in, sir, Oren, I'm sorry, Mr. Edwards, do you see the Air Force making digital twins out of all of our aircraft, including the ones within our intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft?
So I think what we found from our perspective is we first have to start, what are the use cases that we want DMM type products to do? And until we decide what those use cases are, it would be a kind of an arbitrary big muscle movement to arbitrarily go and purchase or develop digital twins. So when you look at what you want a digital twin to do, as Mr. Torres mentioned, so one thing you want a system model to do is to map out all the interactions of all the components of your weapon system design. With that, you can rapidly answer design questions. You can rapidly answer sustainment questions like technical assistance requests. We call them 107s or 202s. You can do interoperability trade studies. You can do all those things that you can do with a system model. For a digital twin, you have to think about what other use cases you want to do, like physical fit checks or virtual fit checks. if you want to do production or QA types of things. So really, as Mr. Torres mentioned, when you decide on the use cases and how you're going to use it, how you can use it within your organization, that will help inform what type of digital twin and to what level, more importantly, what level of fidelity you want to go after.
Okay. Cool. Do you all have any other examples of, successful digital material management efforts that we've done either within your organization or across the Air Force?
Yeah, we have several in our organization. So the first thing to mention is that we actually track the number of use cases that we've generated in our division. So we've identified actually over 226 use cases of how to apply DMM in our organization. And of those, we've actually prototyped 114 of those. So we have a lot of examples at the grassroots level of how we can apply things to our day-to-day job. So when you think about that the quantity, it kind of gets pretty exciting. But I'll have a couple that I'll bring up real quick.
Yeah, sure.
The first one is more on business process automation. So within our division, we were using a tool for risk management to manage cost, schedule, and performance risks. The tool we were using was available to the enterprise, but they lost their ATO. And so we're back to using Microsoft Excel. So what a couple folks on our team did is they said, you know what, we're learning advanced tools, advanced features of SharePoint. We've now got the Power Platform from Microsoft, Power BI, Power Automate. And so they created an automated risk management tool that has the same results, same outputs as the former software we were using, but they were able to build a min viable product in only 2 weeks.
Wow.
And using these digital tools or the application of tools to solve a business problem. Another example we had was during a development program for the MQ-9. It was an urgent need that later became a JUON, but we didn't really know what we were doing at the time, but we knew that, hey, we can map out user stories from the user, from the MAGCOM, and use those to distill on what the needs and need statements. And ultimately, we were able to, using a requirements model, we were actually able to auto-generate a system requirements document that we put into our RFP.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you mentioned a JUON, and that stands for Joint Urgent.
Yeah, exactly. Forgive me. Yeah, it's a Joint Urgent Operational Need. And that those are needs that come down from the combatant commands to acquisition. Say, hey, hold the train. We need to rush this project through before anything else.
Okay.
So, anyways, part of that contract, I joked that we didn't really know what we were doing, but we knew there was an opportunity to build this into a contract, and we put a wedge of hours and some statements in the statement of work to ensure there was some level of MBSE support. This RFP was going to go out whether we were ready or not, so we were able to sneak in a small wedge to support that. The outcome of that is we've now been able to rapidly run several trade studies on the avionics, different design iterations we were looking at. We've been able to link every component of this upgrade back to system requirements, subsystem requirements, component level requirements, and user requirements backwards and forwards, fully linked. This is something we've never been able to do before, except via manual tracing through specification documents. And now we can do that in a series of right clicks and inquiries. And then the last example, I would say is a pretty good win, is on an ACAT-2 equivalent foreign military sales program. We were going back and forth with the customer on scope based on what the perceived level of maturity of some of those systems were. And so we decided, you know what, we're going to conduct a formal technical readiness assessment, or a TRA, to formally establish what the tech readiness levels were of the various components. So we followed the OSD guidance, we followed the Air Force guidance on how to conduct a TRA. And when they go through the timelines, they generally plan for about 6 to 12 months to conduct something for an ACAT-2 equivalent. And we got it done in 2 months. And the reason we got it done in 2 months is we found out that most of the time is spent not in reviewing the technical documents, not in reviewing the prior technology is coming in, the time is spent during your deliberations with your team. You're updating documents all the time. And by having everything linked, we eliminated all that cross-checking, all the consistency checking. We essentially were able to set those linkages up. And then as we changed our minds, for different discoveries during our deliberations, it's automatically updated. And so that really drastically saved us an immense amount of time in that regard. Okay. So those are just 3 examples. But again, like I said, we have 114 that we've prototyped just to kind of think, how can we apply this to our day-to-day?
So, Mr. Torres, as the digital architect for mobility and training aircraft directorate, how are you sharing best practices or working with other directorates or organizations across the Air Force?
Okay. So we have a Teams channel for the directorate, which we're putting all of our information on, and that Maytac Teams channel. Everybody in our directorate has access to it, but it's also available to anyone in AFMC or LCMC. And so, for example, Mr. Edwards, his division, they have a digital transformation IPT. They multiple times a week, they are having DMM IPT meetings, and they have actually opened up participation in that meeting, and I participate in that meeting. And on our side, we have 2 monthly meetings. One is for all of our Launchpad users.
Yeah.
And then we also have another monthly meeting for our Air Force Product Lifecycle Management users. And so that is for our folks. However, we've opened up those meetings to others as well outside of LCMC. And in those monthly meetings, we talk about, okay, what are your problems that you're having with the tools? What do you have any questions? And then we'll also have the users present, okay, what have you done with these tools? What have you been doing in Launchpad, or what have you been doing in Air Force PLM? So we do that. And then there is another user forum. It's an AFMC PEO and division level digital leads meeting. That meeting is quarterly, and so that is another way where we're trying to not just we, but the community, the DMM community, comes together to share, what they're doing, and just educate one another.
So how are you all working with operators with DMM? Or are you?
Yeah, we are. That's so naturally operators are not acquisitioneers. I jokingly use that term. They have needs. They turn those needs into requirements, and they look to us to fund them as fast as possible. So we have had a couple programs or a couple of efforts where we're actually starting to, and I use the term digital whiteboarding, is to map out user needs as use cases and user stories in some of these tools like Cameo during our conversations with the actual warfighters. And we sometimes call it combat modeling, because we're doing modeling in real time with a live audience, which is always scary when you're starting out. But in doing that, you're also able to elicit and show on the whiteboard exactly how their needs are reflecting, instead of how they will interact with the system, how they'll interact with between your air crews, between your maintainers, between your, ops groups and things like that. And so we're very early on, and we haven't fully got it as the way to go, but we are starting more and more of that.
Awesome. So, Mr. Torres, I know within your directorate, you all are responsible for, aircraft that have been around the Air Force a very long time.
Yes.
To include, the KC-10, which is, I believe, will be phasing out sometime this year. And, the KC-135, which is, of course, a a workforce for the tankers.
Yes.
How can you just talk a bit about how you see, digital material management, helping, the KC-10 and I'm sorry, not the KC-10, but the KC-135, the KC-46, the T-7.
Hmm. Yeah. So the a couple of things on that. So our approach to sustainment is these we in DMM you talk about things being born digital. So if you have a weapon system that's just on paper, that weapon system and the entire architecture and how it's the acquisition for it, it can be born digital. But as you just pointed out, what about the rest of the weapon systems? In our directorate, as you mentioned, KC-135 over 60 years. T-38 over 60 years, C-17 30 plus years. They're in the field. They're just being sustained. The approach that we've taken is that those systems can't be born digital. However, they're being modified all the time. So our approach has been anytime there's a permanent mod to a weapon system, that permanent mod can be born digital. So for
Okay.
example,
By mod, you mean modification, like
modification.
a
Yes.
new
So,
something added to it, the aircraft?
well, not necessarily added to it, mainly obsolescence. So if a component or a system is obsolete, they're not making it anymore. In order to keep flying, you're going to have to replace it with the current technology so you can keep flying. Well, that replacement, that modification, it can be born digital. It can incorporate all of these digital techniques. And so several of our weapon systems are actually doing that. C-17, their flight deck is getting replaced. They have developed a Cameo model of that flight deck that encompasses all of the requirements that then can be shared with the contractors to make sure that those requirements are being met with designs that will perform the functions. And then throughout our directorate, anytime there's a mod, that's happening. T-6 avionics replacement program, KC-135 center console refresh, those are all modifications, and they're incorporating digital techniques into those modifications.
Wow. So we're essentially going to get these modifications faster because of digital.
Yes, you're going to get them faster, but then you'll able to update those systems faster. And the hope is then that rework, it will reduce the amount of rework.
Okay.
It will incorporate stakeholders' needs. You mentioned the operators. In the Air Force, we don't always get our operators' requirements or understandings. There's misunderstandings. If we begin to do model-based systems engineering that includes stakeholder analysis, that includes use cases, all those things, it's multi-dimensional understanding of what the system needs to do. We actually haven't done that before. And because we've not done that before, we're prone to errors and misinterpretation, a lot of rework. It takes us a very long time to field capabilities. When we adopt these things, it reduces all of that and it helps us go fast.
Okay. So earlier you mentioned, I believe, Cameo or Camo. What exactly is that?
Yes. So a key capability for digital material management is something called systems modeling language. It's an industry standard for how to model a system and different views of the system. Cameo is an industry tool to develop a SysML model, systems modeling language model.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Cameo, that tool is available on Launchpad, and and you can get a Launchpad account free. Anybody in AFMC can get a Launchpad account at no cost and can begin using Cameo to develop models.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. Mr. Edwards, is there anything you would like to add about, your portfolio? I believe you all have what, 5 aircraft within the portfolio?
Yeah, we have 4 aircraft within our division. The largest one is the MQ-9A, but we also have the MQ-9B, the RQ-29, and then another one. So most of our work right now relating to digital material management is starting up with the MQ-9A. We're also initiating building some models of the MQ-9B because that's going to be a major part of our foreign military sales portfolio. And again, if we want to be faster with fewer defects, and that's a growth area of our portfolio, then we want to be applying this to those programs as well.
Got it. With DMM, you're able to save the data from the aircraft and eventually use that as you are, potentially developing next generation weapon systems, or can that be done?
It can. The term is called product line engineering.
Okay.
And what product line engineering is the ability or the concept and the tools and the modeling approach so that in one model you can capture multiple permutations or variant configurations in that same model. So if you want for a particular day, hey, show me the MQ-9 that has this radar versus that radar, and it'll pull up that model. Show me the MQ-9 that has this advanced sensor that we haven't gone to the whole fleet yet. Yes, and it can show that model. So that will help mitigate a lot of your configuration management problems of having to maintain different models of different systems as opposed to just in one particular core model.
Okay. And I know we briefly talked about this earlier, but let's talk a little bit more about, what are some of the challenges of executing digital material management?
So I'll start. Probably one of the biggest things that we've had to overcome is culture. And if you look at change, which the Air Force is definitely driving a driving force in changing to a digital material management construct. So if change is driven and directed and vectored by policy, it's fueled by culture. At the same front, if there's resistance on to change, or change is not as accelerating as fast as possible, it's because there's cultural inertia that you have to overcome. So one of the things that we did is we said that's going to be our number one focus in our program. And the reason I said that is I mentioned before about we had an origin story where a lot of light bulbs went off on our team, and on reflection we realized that the problem is us. And so what are the things that we were resistant to in the past? And we said we're going to attack all of those things. So if anything's going to be important, if anything is important, it needs to be measured. So we also said we're going to measure culture. Now you would think that can't really measure culture, can you? And so we took a lesson from, there's a book called How to Measure Anything by Douglas Hubbard. And he talked about how one of the people involved in the Manhattan Project, Enrico Fermi, how he would have his college students estimate, numbers of different technicians in the city of like Chicago. And there's creative ways to how to measure things based on what you can measure that relate to what you want to get after. And so we said there's 3 things that are indicators of culture in our division. The first is the total number of use cases that people come up with, that they have prototyped. We can measure that if we have them present a quad chart at our weekly show and tell. We said another indicator that we're going to measure is the number of different people that prototype a use case, because it's better to have 100 people prototype one use case each than it is to have one person do all the work. We wanted to measure that. And the last thing was we wanted to measure also the number of different functionals that are participating in digital material management. So some people will say that DMM is just for engineers, and we have to fight that perception daily. And so we said, hey, if somebody from contracting or somebody from finance or somebody from security or logistics comes up with an idea of a potential use case, and they create a card that we have on our tracker system, we're going to measure that. And so by measuring and tracking those 3 metrics over the last 18 months, we've used that to kind of adjust our tactics of how we're going to manage our outreach, or really in-reach within our division, towards kind of getting the word out and getting the buy-in.
Awesome. Mr. Torres, do you have anything to add?
Only in agreement. In my opinion, the number one challenge to DMM, as Mr. Edwards pointed out, is the culture. And so to go after the culture, a few things that we're doing in the Directorate is, at the beginning of this year, the PEO set up an objectives key result framework for the Directorate to go after 4 LOEs. LOE number 3 is digital material management. So all of our divisions have identified objectives and key results and tasks to go after digital material management, and these are briefed quarterly to our PEO. The point of bringing that up is, and there's a lot of opinions on culture change management, but I believe that not only does it have to be from the bottom up, but it really needs to be from the top down. You have to have your senior leaders on board with DMM adoption, and then it can flow from the top down. And so we have PEO support for digital material management in the LOE number 3 for DMM, and then the other, and so we're always trying to identify how can we incentivize or recognize contributions to DMM. So another thing that we've done is we've created a Directorate level award. It's a quarterly award to recognize a civilian or military person for their contributions for DMM. So we're trying to recognize folks across the Directorate that are making contributions. So small steps.
What do you all think is the future of digital material management? Like, what's next? Or like, is it going to help us create more lethal aircraft? Weapons of the future. What's the next step in your opinion?
So I think so. There's a couple of good things about DMM and maybe not so good things about DMM. So in my opinion, DMM doesn't save you any money. It's not going to help you save money. As a matter of fact, at the beginning, it's going to cost you a little bit more money to create a baseline. What DMM gets us in the sustainment and development of new weapon systems is speed. You will be able to develop and sustain your weapon systems faster. Now, not the first time through, but the next time through. For example, I mentioned Air Force Product Lifecycle Management. Air Force Product Lifecycle Management is a digital thread builder. So when you begin to migrate and transition into Air Force PLM, the first time, it's a lot of hard work. However, once that is established and you have this digital thread, the next time your weapon system gets modified because a part has gone obsolete, your team can go fast and make that mod faster because all of the data is integrated and available in one location and all the many capabilities that are available to you. Whereas today, we're kind of stuck in this model-based management, or not model-based management, but we're stuck in document-based management. The way we manage our systems is with documents, and none of those documents are related or linked together. And so when we move to DMM type of architecture, we can go fast.
It sounds like it saves you money in the long run.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I'll echo Mr. Torres' comment. Yeah, the number one thing we're going to get is speed. We had a crisis on our program 3 years ago. It was a technical process crisis of how long things were taking to get certain approvals, and it was essentially a major implosion and a complete breakdown. And we had to delve into. We decided to use a model-based system engineering tool to help us out. We thought, hey, we have no other choice. Let's give it a shot. And we realized that as we starting to use that tool to solve this one particular process, it auto-generated a lot of the core of the documents we need. And then when we got out of that, we finally got out of the woods. We reached out to ourselves and said, you know what just happened? We literally waste so much time with documents. And prior to that, we didn't even realize how much time we're wasting, right? And so that experience really became what we call our origin story. And so that led to a lot of the kind of the experimentation with some of these tools. But it's all come down to, are there large tasks? Yes, they'll be faster. But also you can get some small wins that will also help save time. The investment, of course, as Mr. Torres mentioned, yes, there is an investment in money, but there's more an investment in time to crawl up that learning curve. But our team will tell you that even when you're just early on in the learning curve, you can still get those small wins that then just start spiraling into bigger and bigger wins.